was just thinking about sorting out some things in my garden, and it occurred to me that I could use some of this moss in a tubs and tubes setup for one of my queens for the Manica challenge. So now, when I first started digging this up, there was all worms and stuff coming out, so I know that I'm pretty certain there shouldn't be any issues with the soil at all. So I'm just going to take some of the soil out. Now, I know Manica are aggressive and they're hunters, so if there's any little beasties in here in the soil that I've managed to collect, that'll give something for her to hunt, which would be nice. So I'm just getting a little bit of soil to pad it down to give a bit of substrate for the moss to grow on. I didn't realise there was so much moss in here, there's loads. So just occurred to me. So I've already cut this piece to roughly the right size, so I'm just going to place it in there, bed it down a bit. And I haven't got a spray bottle or whatever with me, but then I'll just spray a bit of water over the top. And that, I think, is going to be my tub for one of my Manica Rubida queens. Okay, and then for the lid, I'm just going to use the takeaway box container. I've drawn like a rectangle shape all the way around the edge, leaving a nice, fairly big lip, and I have just cut that out. And then for underneath the lips, I'm just going to use the Ant Lady anti-escape solution. The instructions on the website say to use very, very sparingly, so I have taken as much off the applicator brush as possible. And then I'm just going to use that one application, what's left on that one applicator brush. Make sure I go all the way around the edges. Okay, so I think that should just about do it. Pop the lids on. And we should be ready for our queens to go in there. Okay guys, let's finally have a look at these Manica queens. So I've just taken them out the box that they arrived in. So we have, not sure what's going on with the focus here, I apologise guys. We have two queens, both with a nice pile of eggs. Zooming in for the top queen now. Okay, so she is absolutely stunning. The colour of her is beautiful. Wow. Okay, so let's see. I should have checked a second ago to see if I could make a bit of a count. So when she moves out of the way, see if I can count how many eggs that she has. I'm sure she'll move in a second. But either way, it's a really healthy looking egg pile. So, come on, Queenie, move yourself. I don't want to move it just to make a move. That seems so unfair. She must have like somewhere between 20 and 30 eggs there. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 10 eggs just at the top. Maybe even 12. So she has a really nice healthy brood pile, healthy egg pile. Fabulous. Okay, and then if we swap down to the other queen, again, look at her. Beautiful. And also a really nice looking egg pile. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Again, between maybe around 25 eggs there. So these queens have really done well. Amazing. Now, one of the things that make these queens difficult to raise, and why this is described as a challenge, is that these guys are semi-claustral. That means that they do not have reserves enough to get them through raising their first batch of eggs into workers. These guys require feeding. Now, obviously, the more you disturb a queen during her fawning stages, the more likely it is that she's not going to survive, that she's going to get too stressed, that she's going to end up eating the brood or whatever. And so that's part of the challenge here with these queens, is to keep them fed enough but not have them stressed so that they don't survive. So I'm hoping that with the open top setups that I've got ready, I'm hoping that being able to just go straight in there, not open anything up, hopefully means that I'll be able to feed without disturbing these girls. Is what I hope. But I think you'll agree they are just amazing. And really big as well. So Myrmica rubida, that we would call fire ants in the UK, then I don't believe that they're a true fire ant species, but that's what we would call fire ants in the UK. Are probably like just over half the size. These girls really are quite massive. In fact, I will add a picture up in the corner because the ant lady did post a picture comparing the size of a Myrmica rubida to the Manica Rubida. It makes quite a big difference. But anyway, rather than just looking at these girls now, I think I'm going to get them into their setups. Okay, so in no particular order, I'm going to pop this queen into here. Doesn't quite fit. Okay, I'll take the lid off first. Okay, so take try and sink her into that a little bit so that hopefully the tube won't move around too much if I move the tub. Yes, there's one. There's two. Now I have just noticed that this test tube is a little bit cracked, but I'm not too concerned about it. Put that in there. And then put this on first just in case she comes out, because she is on the walkabout. There we go. And I think on this one I'm just going to put a bit of blue tack either side of her so that the test tube doesn't move around, because that's going to roll in there. I'll put 4 little blobs, so 1, 2, and put this one down by the side of the cotton so that it doesn't impede any vision when we are filming. There we go. So that's our 2 queens in their setups. Hopefully we'll be fairly happy in there. So the last thing we need to do is feed them. So for their first feed in, I think I'm going to give them sugar and protein, just so that they can eat what they want, because you know they've had a journey and a half, haven't they? So I'm going to get a bit of cotton wool, 1 for each, into a bit of a screw ball. You only need a bit, they're only tiny. And then I'm going to use my Ant Lady strawberry lemonade. And I'm going to squeeze just a drop onto each. It smells really nice. It smells delicious. Okay, so I'll pop those in there right by the opening of the test tube, as close to it as I can get, because I don't want these girls to be stressing or having to work harder than needed. Okay, and then the other thing I'm going to give them is some cut up mealworm. So I have just filmed a whole load and forgot to press record. So genius, right? So you can see sugar and protein in there. Now this queen immediately found the sugar, sniffed at the protein and left it, but went to town on the sugar. Really went for it. So that's a good sign. She's full of energy. She seemed to quite like the Ant Lady sugar stuff. Now she seems to have had a little bit of a panic because she now can't find the entrance back into her test tube. So I'm hoping that before long she will find that entrance again. But I'm going to leave her to do her thing. I don't want to disturb her anymore, because, you know, she had a big thing now. Moving into the other setup. Now this is going to be a bit harder to film in, potentially. In fact, I'm assuming that this girl is going to end up moving into the soil underneath the moss, which is absolutely fine. It's going to give a different environment. Be interested to see the difference between how these two queens do. So this one may well be more difficult to film anyway. But she has not made it out of the test tube yet. She has just stayed in there with her eggs. So hopefully before long she's going to disappear off out of her test tube to go and get something to eat. In terms of a feeding schedule, I'm going to start off with every 3 days. And then see how they go from there. That might work, it might not. But I'll see how they do. If they're restless and looking, then I'll feed them early. But I'm hoping I should be able to leave these guys be now and be able to see what I want to from them.
I'm gonna be better, better than you thought. I promise I won't jealous, you don't deserve it all. I'm gonna be better, better than you thought. I promise I won't jealous, you don't